All right, Round 1 MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, Dricus Du Plessis is still getting attacked, okay, by Ariel Helwani, first of all, but other people. Every time the question gets brought up, he's getting attacked, and it's actually disgusting. He's getting defensive, and then the words that he says while being defensive are being used against him, and it's just insane to me that nobody has a problem with what Kamaru Usman said. I don't even really have a problem with what Israel Adesanya said. I certainly don't even really actually myself have a problem with what Kamaru Usman said, but if anybody has said something thus far that could be construed as, you know, derogatory or anything like that, it would be Kamaru Usman. Okay, I know I'm not that thin-skinned, but I think it is disgusting that Dricus Du Plessis is getting attacked so hard for saying that he is African when he is in fact African. Okay. I want to talk about this, but before we do, please like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'll thank you in advance because I'm Canadian, eh? And I don't care where my ancestry came from. My parents were born and raised here, and I was born and raised here. I am Canadian, okay? Unfortunately. So please like and subscribe because I wish I wasn't. But anyways, dude, let's get right into it. Dricus Du Plessis, you guys all know what he said. I don't really need to go over it. And the first time that this really got brought up was, well, after his victory over Derek Brunson, of course, but then they asked Kamaru Usman about this, and I remember covering this on the media day for Usman versus Edwards too. And Kamaru Usman, so far, is the only one who has said something that is actually bad, okay, in my opinion. He said that, he essentially said Dricus isn't really African. He said, you know, you may be born there, raised there, and all this stuff, but you're, like, he basically said that Dricus Du Plessis is not African, because he is not black, okay? He's the only one that said something bad so far. Dricus Du Plessis continuously is just now, at this point, defending himself because Kamaru Usman has said that he was not African, so he feels the need to defend himself. And Ariel Helwani decided he was going to go at him for this and ask him a bunch of, attempt a bunch of gotcha questions, in my opinion, and I thought it was kind of gross. And then, him and his buddy, I don't even know what his name is, but whatever, dude that he does the show with, they continue to talk about how they don't really feel comfortable with a fight being pushed this way. They don't feel comfortable with this being the storyline for a fight moving forward and all of these things. But they're totally comfortable with it being something that they use to sell like ad revenue or to sell ads so that they can make ad revenue and things like this. Like they have no problem using it to bolster their YouTube channel, to bolster their views, but they don't want it being used to sell a fight or to bolster a fight, which is just insane to me. It's completely hypocritical and I find it disgusting. I want to play a clip for you that I found online of Israel Adesanya, and I there's, this is a short clip. He has said it more times than this. He has gone into more detail about why he thinks that he is this thing that I am about to show you. But I want to ask why nobody has a problem with this, okay? Nobody.
Now, I am the Black Dragon. I was born in Nigeria. I grew up in New Zealand, but I have lived in China, so I've embraced the Chinese culture. I came to China in 2014, and I fell in love with the
wasn't there that long.
Black outside, China inside. I am Chinese.
Right
I'm
there.
the Black.
I am Chinese because he's lived there for not even a long period of time. But he's Chinese because he lived there. He's also Nigerian or African, and he's also New Zealand and a Kiwi or whatever. You know what I mean? So he gets to claim all of these things, and nobody bats an eye at it. Li Jingliang's never said he's got an issue with Israel Adesanya saying that he's Chinese. No, I haven't heard anybody say that. But Dricus Du Plessis claims to be African, and all of a sudden it's an issue. And he has not once said that Kamaru Usman or Israel Adesanya are not African. He said they left Africa to get their success, whereas he has stayed in South Africa, okay? In Africa. South Africa is a country in the continent of Africa, if you weren't aware, okay? So they're all African, and he's acknowledged as much, but he's basically just said, yeah, they are African, but they left to get their success. And I want to show people that you don't need to do that. Kind of like how Leon Edwards said that he wants to show young kids you don't need to leave the UK if you want to realize success in this sport. And he wanted to be the first champion fighting out of the UK, as opposed to Michael Bisping, who left and moved to LA or wherever it was that he moved to become the UFC champion. Nobody cared when he said it. Okay? Nobody cared when Israel Adesanya claimed that he was Chinese. But Dricus Du Plessis says that he's African, and he's correct, and it's an issue, okay? And I want to give you some statistics, because I know that nowadays a lot of people view the term racism a little bit differently, right? It's got a new definition to a lot of people. Now, smart people know that everybody can be this thing, okay? No matter what your skin color or ethnicity is. Smart people know that. But dumb people don't, and they have their new definition that they find works best, that completely falls apart when you just move to a different country, okay? What is it? Prejudice plus power, right? Therefore, in the United States of America and things like this, only white people can be racist because they're the ones in power. They're the majority population, the majority ethnicity, right? Like, we can't have a black person be racist to a white person because we're the ones in power. Okay, fine, dude. You want to go by that definition? We can go by that definition. I looked up some census data, okay, of PopCam popped, okay, some census data from South Africa. Since people keep claiming, well, South Africa's not, it's different, all this stuff compared to other countries in Africa, because like Israel and Kamaru both came from Nigeria. In South Africa, first of all, they have a black president, okay, an African. So these guys would probably consider this man African. No issue about him being, even though he's South African, no issue with him. So he's the president of South Africa is indeed a black man. Okay, so right there, one, who's in power, okay? But not just that, the census data for the population by ethnicity in South Africa. We'll go over this, okay? Black South African is 80.7. This is from a 2019 census, by the way, so it's pretty updated. 4 years old. I couldn't find a newer one. This is pretty recent. 80.7% of the population of South Africa is black. Okay. White South Africans, 7.9%, not even 8% of the country. Okay. A vast minority. Huge minority. Colored South Africans, which is funny. Black people are such a super majority that they don't even consider them to be colored. They're talking about other colors. 8.8%. Even larger than the white South African population. And finally, the Indian South African population at 2.6%. They are, in fact, the smallest minority, but white people are in second place for the smallest minority in South Africa. So if white people only make up 8% of the population in South Africa and black people make up 80.7% of the population, I would argue to somebody who uses that absolutely fucking retarded definition of racism, which is prejudice plus power, right? Those are the two requirements in order to be racist. Okay? Which population in South Africa actually meets those requirements? It would be the black South Africans. Okay? Not the massive minority, 8% of the population. 80.7%. We don't even have that kind of disparity in the Americas. Not even fucking close, I don't think. I think black people alone in America are about 13 to 17% of the population. Yeah. Also, in a country that's got way more people. So there's way more black Americans in America, right? And I'm going to call them Americans because they were born and fucking raised in America. Then there are white people in South Africa. A massive minority, yet they still get completely shit on because this does not matter when we're talking about everything gets brought into the light of like America. So I don't care about history. Like, I care about history, but in this sense, Dricus Du Plessis, it got nothing to do with what his ancestors may or may not have done. His parents don't have anything to do with what his ancestors may or may not have done. It's the same way that I don't blame Pyotr Yan for what the fuck President Putin does. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is actually gross, and I'm kind of sick of it, dude. And now the guy's getting gaslit and just continuously shit on because he said something accurate. You know what I mean? Is Aljamain Sterling not American because his ancestry is Jamaican? You know, it's gross, dude. Is Kamaru Usman not an American? Is he not American? Is his daughter not American? You know what I mean? It's crazy to me, dude. Like, why is this even a thing? And it was a completely innocuous statement that he made. What he meant by that is like, dude, if the Vancouver Canucks won the Stanley Cup, I know that's fucking laughable, okay? And they were to do like a tour, you know what I mean, with their Stanley Cup, because they're gonna have American members on the team. They might even have some Swedish members on the team, like things like this. They do a tour with that Stanley Cup. Let's say they go to Florida. Let's say they go to fucking Delaware or something, okay? While that Stanley Cup may have gone there, it went to Vancouver. Do you know what I mean? While Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman may have taken their belts back home, or so they say back home, even though they don't want to fucking live there, to Nigeria, it ultimately ended up going to New Zealand and to fucking Florida when he first won it, and to Colorado now in previous, you know, in his defenses after. It is actually so weird that they just keep going at this one point. And like Ariel Helwani brought it up. He was grilling Dricus about it, and then he brought it up to Eugene Behrman. Him and his little buddy on the show wouldn't shut up about it, even though they, you know, said that it makes them feel uncomfortable and they don't really like the storyline. Well, then stop talking about it, okay? Because it's not a worthy storyline anyways. It's gross for you guys to act like he's some... Ariel tried to bring up German people and Jewish people in fucking Palestine, like Israel and Palestine and things like this. Like, oh my god, man. Brutal. I don't get it. I don't understand why it's totally fine for Kamaru Usman to say what he said, but Dricus Du Plessis getting grilled this way. Nobody's asked if Kamaru thought his statements could have potentially been offensive to the huge minority of white people that live in South Africa. He just basically said that 8% of their population isn't 8% of their population. There's some other shit. You know what I mean? It seems that this shit only works one way, and it's annoying to me. I remember, you guys might remember this too, when Snoop Dogg, for whatever reason, was like doing shit with the UFC, even though he's annoying as fucking all get out, dude. He posted a video of him watching Tyron Woodley beat up Darren Till. And I'm sure you guys all know what I'm talking about, but he was saying, fuck Donald Trump, ninja. Fuck Donald Trump, ninja. And he kept saying that over and over again, as if Darren Till was from the United States as opposed to fucking Liverpool, right? And I remember when I heard that, I thought, what a fucking idiot. But then I thought, could you imagine? Now, what I'm going to say is a completely fantastical scenario, and I understand it would never happen, but just try to follow along. Imagine if the roles were reversed. I'm about to cough. And Darren Till, dry throat, wow. And Darren Till knocked down Tyron Woodley, which isn't super crazy, but it's a little crazy. But so then Darren Till jumps to the ground, and let's pretend that he has any jiu-jitsu capabilities whatsoever. And because Tyron Woodley's hurt and rocked, he manages to pass his guard and get into mount. I know it's crazy, guys. Just follow along. Imagine if Kid Rock, watching that, this was the only musician I could think of that isn't on like the side of Snoop Dogg. Imagine if Kid Rock watching that started screaming out, fuck Barack Obama. Fuck Barack Obama, honky. Or something like that, cracker. Something like that. Fuck Barack Obama over and over again. He would have been raked over the coals. Raked over the coals. You guys all know that. That's true. And if you're one of the people in denial here, I mean, dude, Israel Adesanya claimed he's fucking Chinese. Like, enough with this shit, dude. Dricus Du Plessis, born and raised in Africa. Yeah, sure, if you were to trace his bloodline and figure out what his, like, ancestry is, maybe it would say European or whatever the fuck. But so many people don't even know, dude. I haven't gotten mine. I'd be curious. You know? It's just gross. It's gross, and I'm sick of it. He keeps getting attacked, and they are gaslighting him. And Ariel Helwani knows that fighters are not the brightest when it comes to things like this. Jamal Hill did a fantastic job when he was on Ariel Helwani's show, and Ariel Helwani tried to get him with some gotchas as well. He was very quick about it. A lot of them aren't like that, though. You know what I mean? To be quick and witty and to be able to think of things off the top of your head. Also, Ariel Helwani live streams his show, if I'm not mistaken, and then like the interviews get cut and uploaded after the fact. So like they're also aware that they're on a live show being watched by thousands of people, and they're probably over analyzing what they say in their own brain to begin with. So then their responses look like they're lagging a little bit. They're like buffering, like loading. And then they come up with some dumb shit. He just kept trying to say the same few things over and over again, but they keep putting words in his mouth. And then they'll say, well, oh, that's what he meant. That's what he meant, though. He may not have said that, but we all know what he meant. Oh, do we? Oh, do we all know what he meant? Okay, so then I know exactly what Kamaru Usman meant when he said what he said. And what he said was, and this isn't what he said, but it's what he meant. You are not African unless you are black. That's what he meant. We all know it. That's what he meant. Same thing, dude. It's gross. I feel bad for Dricus Du Plessis because this is getting a little out of hand. And it would be ultra annoying to me if this was the storyline and if this was the fight moving forward, because I thought Dricus Du Plessis will never fight for a title because he's not going to get past a guy like a Robert Whittaker. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't think he would ever get to that opportunity. He's still ranked 6th. If he were to fight somebody in the top 5, I think I would pick anybody in the top 5 over Dricus Du Plessis. But now they're talking about, you know what I mean? Israel doesn't have anybody to fight in the top 5. So what? If they do that fight, oh, and if Alex Pereira moves to 205 and they remove him from the middleweight rankings, now Dricus Du Plessis goes up a spot by default. Now he's ranked number 5. Now it's a lot easier to justify. If that is the storyline moving forward, what we will get is Israel Adesanya fucking bodying him. And then what we will get is a ton of racist black fans going crazy, being ultra happy because their black man beat up a white man. Whereas if that was fucking reversed, dude, it would be completely unacceptable. Even though, as I said, in Africa, according to them, it's impossible for Dricus Du Plessis to be racist. It's impossible because his population doesn't have power. They're 8% of the population. Your definition works against you when you move to a different country. This is why it's a stupid definition, but since you guys want to use it, I'm going to use it. It's impossible for Dricus Du Plessis to be racist in South Africa. He's 8% of the population with a black president. Black people are the only people who can be racist in South Africa, according to your definition. So, that's it, dude. That's it. I don't want to talk anymore about it, but and this was probably very rambly, and it wasn't super concise. Usually I have notes that are separated with these little lines that I do, and then so everything's all like very, but, this one was not that. But it just fucking bugs me, dude, because the double standards are insane. And, yeah, anyways, dude, that's the end of this video. Like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm still fucking Canadian, eh? I'm still Canadian. And we're polite. So like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, dude. I'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye.